It was a pretty short fight. It kind of ended unfortunately. Basically, we had a few threw out a few kind of test strikes, tested out the range and stuff like that. I shot a double, picked him up, put him down. He kind of stood up, and then I picked him down, and then on the slam he put his arm out and I think it dislocated his elbow or something like that. So it was kind of a brief fight. Didn't really get going at all before it ended, but what can you do? It's just kind of the sport, I guess. It's one of the risks. I was expecting kind of one of the bigger challenges of my career so far. I mean, he's an established guy. He's definitely a talented fighter. He didn't really get to show off. He didn't get really to show off what he's good at, and I didn't get to show off really everything that I've worked on, other than the takedowns, which is a big thing that I do work on. But it's just I was preparing for a tough fight, and that's just how it went. Yeah, they mentioned it in the cage. I didn't really know what was going to happen, just because I know his last title fight got canceled. So I didn't know if they'd go back with that one, and then obviously just the way that it ended, I didn't know what was going to happen. So, obviously I am happy to take the opportunity. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I'm happy to take advantage of it. Yeah, it'll be my third 5 rounds, but it's the first one 5-minute rounds. So it's a little longer still, but yeah, I've trained with him before. One of my jiu-jitsu coaches is really good friends with him. He's come in, and he put us in contact, and we sparred a little bit. I think it was actually before my amateur title fights. I don't know. He's always been cool to me. I've been cool to him, but he's got a belt. I want the belt. It's just how it goes, I guess. It's just competitive sparring. I don't know. Sparring is sparring. You try your stuff out. Maybe one day you're working on something. One day maybe I want to work on my defense. One day he wants to work on this or whatever. And so, I got the best of him a couple times. He got the best of me a couple times, and that's just what it is. It's not really too telling of what a fight will be, because in a fight you do what you're sure of. In my opinion, that's what I try to do. In sparring, sometimes I might do something that I'm weak at just to work on it, right? So it was a mix, up and down. Yeah, I don't know between him and Dayan. Obviously, he has some X factors for sure going for him. He's got power and explosiveness to change the course of a fight at any time. I think Dayan maybe had more options or whatever, more things to look out for. But Ash, you can't count out that tenacity and that heart. So it's, if I'm up on him, 4 rounds in, I can't take it easy, because he's just never done. So I think it'll be a tough test for sure. Just especially because if I don't put him away, until he's put away, he's not done. So I just got to be on my game for sure. Well, yeah, that was crazy. That was but that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? I don't think there's any buddy who would disagree. He was down in that fight, and I think a lot of people probably would have given up and just been fuck, I'm losing, this is it, there's nothing I can do, everything I try isn't working out. But he didn't, and that's, there's definitely something to say about that, and there's that's a talent in itself that is good, so I got to watch out for that. Cool. Just like I said, for sure, I'd say his power and explosiveness is just something that I've got to watch out for. It can change the course of a fight at any time. I could be doing whatever and catch one, and that's a game changer. So I got to watch out for that. And then just that kind of willpower, or whatever you want to call it, is probably his most effective thing, I would imagine, is just that tenacity, that will, that drive. it's not a tool in itself, but it's like I'm saying, it's like an X factor. So, just to deal with that, somebody who's not, going to be easy to break or whatever. So that's probably his number one asset, in my opinion, over any technique or thing like that. Downsides, he's a little bit shorter than me, so I gotta work my range, and then with that explosiveness comes, it's hard to be explosive for 5 rounds. So, we'll see where he's at. I know he works hard on his conditioning, but we'll see if he can keep that up for the whole time, because I know I can.
Cool.
And then for me, I'd say probably just my approach to the fight would be one, to fighting in general. I'm always kind of looking to evolve. I know a lot of my fights, they pretty much all of them, they end up on the ground in submissions or whatever, and so people might think that's all I have or whatever, but that's my path of least resistance. If it doesn't work, I definitely have other options available to me, and I'm constantly training, constantly evolving, and just constantly creating new tools, and like I just haven't even been able to show them yet, right? And so I think he's probably like the perfect opponent for that. Like, not everything's gonna work 100% every time, and so it's gonna allow me to show plan B, plan C, plan D, like my extra tools. And then I think maybe I'm probably like an athletic guy as well, so that I'll be able to match that, and then it'll come down to will, and I'm not gonna break. He's shown that he's tough to break, so it'll be fun to find out. Yeah, absolutely. That's basically the plan. That's one of the benefits of staying with Battlefield, is I've been loyal to them, and they've been loyal to me, and they they obviously fast tracked me with Dayan. That's not a fight. A lot of people are like, oh, like Dayan, like that's a crazy jump or whatever, but they had faith in me, and I had faith in myself, and took the risk to get to this shot. And once I get the belt, then it's just bigger and better things from there. I look at myself as a world-class athlete, and this is just a step to proving that. And once I get through this, it's on to the next step, to the next higher level guys or whatever, and just to prove that I belong in the UFC, in whatever, any world-class organization, just keep moving up. I think if if you want to go to that next level, you don't get to the next level and then realize like, hey, I'm in the UFC, now I have to start doing this or whatever. Like, if you want to go to the next level, you have to be on the next level first. I come from like a traditional martial arts background, and you earn your belts as you go. And if you want to earn a black belt, you don't get the black belt and then start acting like a black belt, right? You act like a black belt, and then it comes to you. And I think it's the same thing. Pretty much since day one, once I realized like this is what I want to do. I want to do mixed martial arts for however long I can, make it to as high as I can. Immediately, like, I started investing in myself. I'm not. This is not like a money making venture for me. Like I'm losing money fighting right now, right? But that's because I believe that I'll make it to that next level where making a living, making that my life is totally possible, and I believe it's possible, and I think that's a huge thing too. If I believe that I belong, or if I believe that I am on the next level, then I just need to go out and prove it. This is just another ordinary day. This is just me proving I belong on the next level, and that's what it is. That's all it is, really. It's just me proving where I belong and where I believe I belong.
It actually helps.
No, that honestly, that was huge for me. The next day, at the time I had a training partner. We both lost on the same day, actually, and the very next day, like we were like, okay, like what went wrong in that fight? I got tired in that fight. It was a close fight. it is what it is. But I'm almost happy to take the loss, because maybe if I won, I would have like just looked at it as like, oh, I got the win, and just like moved on, like happy with whatever. But because I lost, it really forced me to look at myself, and look at like what was I doing, what was I missing, and even though I've won a lot since then, I've kind of it's forced me not to just even when I win, look at what could I have done better. And that was something I didn't really do in my first couple fights. I won, it worked out fine, it was great, and I just kind of like just moved on. But now that loss really forced me to, like, after every fight, look at my fight. Okay, that's cool, this one's done, what can we do better for the next one? And yeah, and that was a big turning point actually for me, I think. Yeah, I don't know if it was an epiphany or tough opponents. I mean, I think his first fight was Dayan, and that was a close fight. He, it's the same thing, that will, right? That desire to not give up or whatever. He's got it. A lot of people at 0-3, and like that's a tough way to start your career and think that you're gonna like do something with it. And I'm sure a lot of people wrote him off, and he could have easily just been like, whatever, I'm not into it anymore. Like, but he didn't, and look where he's at. That's so good for him. But unfortunately, loss number 4 is on the way.